Imran, a first-time caller in Karachi in Pakistan. Imran, very good to hear you. Welcome.
Hi, Ali. How are you? Great show.
Thank you very much indeed. Imran, what would you like to say?
Yeah, no, I heard Pakistan mentioned a couple of times, so I thought I'd call in today. I moved here. I'm an expat. I moved to Pakistan in 2016, 17, and at that time, I felt, I could feel the multiculturalism was failing at that time.
When, Imran? When was this?
2017.
2017.
About 2017, Ali.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, brilliant.
So I've been here about 8 years now.
Okay.
And when I go back on holiday, it's just not the same. It's just not the same place. It's unrecognisable, Ali, to be honest.
Now, this is really interesting.
London.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me what led you to go to Pakistan, and now when you visit and you come back, how is it different to you? Because you've got different eyes now, because you can see it with a different perspective. Tell us.
Yeah, like when I was leaving, Ali, I mean, there was things like, I think the Eastern European countries, there were a lot of people coming from that sort of part of the world, and we were finding that, the NHS and the places like that, the queues were getting bigger and strong, and you're getting like... it's nothing against Eastern European people, but like there was more drinking, aggressive behaviour. It was just going downhill at that time. They wasn't integrating, they wasn't speaking the language, sort of thing. And then obviously I haven't been part of this, where the boats have started and everything. But that is just, when I come back, Ali, it just makes me, it makes I feel bad. It's such a great country. I was born there. I lived 36, 37 years there. All my family's still there. But I decided to move because I had enough of sort of immigration. I think is a big problem there, and he's not been, controlled.
So interesting, because you are from an immigrant background yourself. You were born in the UK.
Yeah.
When you speak, Imran, to your friends and family who are still here, I mean, what kind of conversations are you having around this with them? I mean, what do they say to you? How do they feel?
It was the same place as it was before. My nan's just been in hospital, and she had to wait, I think, 12 hours in A&E. She had some problems in the stomach, and she had to wait like 12 hours in the A&E. There was people outside, Ali, not even inside the hospital. There was people outside the hospital. Fortunately, she had the surgery there in Royal London Hospital. That was another point I wanted to just pick up quickly, Ali. I mean, even here in Pakistan, when you call a call centre or the bank or something, they do ask you, do you want to speak in English? Do you want to speak in Urdu? So, I mean, that happens around the world. You alluded to the fact that, in the Royal London, they said you want to speak in Bengali or
but
English.
Yeah, but it's slightly different, Imran, because, you've got to have... I mean, English is still very widely used in Pakistan for historical reasons, right? So a lot of people use it. This is not like... I mean, I can't believe that Bengali... is on every phone switchboard at every NHS trust in the country. Of course not. They have it in Whitechapel because it's a very high density. A majority of people living there are from Bangladeshi origin, which is absolutely fine by me. But I don't think it helps by having that kind of thing. I don't think it gives the right impression to the people themselves, and I don't think it gives a wider impression that's positive either.
A lot of people haven't bothered to integrate, Ali.
That's the point.
They will come over, they stick to their own... I mean, like here, I'm English accent. My Urdu is not that great, but it's okay. So I'm considered a foreigner here, even though my parents were from Pakistan. They were born here and everything. Yeah. But I'm considered a foreigner, and I wouldn't dream of like drinking alcohol here outside or like going out in hot pants.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Absolutely. I have to go by the laws and the regulations that are here in Pakistan. I mean, I work here. I work for a Canadian company. I pay my taxes and everything. And everything is, you have to, like you just said, when in Rome.
But then, Imran, is that the fault? Is that the fault of successive political leaders not to actually state very clearly when you come to this country what you are expected to integrate into? Because we have been so scared of our own past, I don't know if that's colonial hangover or guilt or whatever it is, that we have not been clear in this country about what the expectation is. I mean, you go to Saudi Arabia, in downtown Riyadh, you don't wear hot pants, right? You don't. Out of respect. You don't wear them in Karachi, unless you might be at the Sin Club on a Saturday night where anything goes. But that's a separate thing. Imran, do you think that we need to be a bit more muscular in this country if we're going to prevent a complete descent here?
if you want the great back in Britain, then you have to be a bit more muscular. I mean, you know, when you have we have August 14 here, the Pakistan Day. It's like Pakistani flags all over the place. You know, and if you do that in the UK, you show a bit of patriotism in the UK, you're classed as. Oh, well, you're racist,
but you are. A lot of people do. Imran, look, very good to speak to you. Simon in Basingstoke, afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ali. I'm a bit surprised by your views asking for reparations.
I'm not asking for reparations. No, Simon, no. Sorry, it's not reparations. No, absolutely not. You need to correct that. What I'm saying is, if I'm working in the city in a job, okay, and I get fired by my employer, they're going to have to pay me off. If Nick Tenconi or Katie Lamb or anyone else wants to repatriate me to my parents' country of origin, not my country of origin, which is this country, they're going to have to pay me a shed load of money because I'm a capitalist.
Yeah, but a country isn't a corporation.
No, it is. Sorry,
that's the mistake.
No, I'm not asking for reparations. I'm asking you just treat me fairly. You want me to go? You pay me off.
Well, maybe we deduct the money that we would pay you that you merit because you've made such a large contribution from the cost of your group. I mean, do you think the 1.6 million Afghans who were forcibly deported from Pakistan had a claim on Pakistan? Or the Rohingya Muslims who were deported from India, do they have a similar claim?
No,
Some of them have been there for generations.
It depends on the circumstances, Simon. Look, on all of this, it depends on the circumstance and who we're talking about. So if Katie Lamb or Tenconi or anyone else wants to talk about deportations, let's talk about deportations. But then we've got to be precise about who, which generation, right? Who, how the process is going to work and what they're going to be compensated. Because I'm not going for free, I tell you that. You want me to go? You want me to go?
I mean, maybe
Simon. You want me to go and sit on the terrace on the veranda at the Sin Club in Karachi and sip pina coladas and have my brunch on a Sunday, which I'd be more than delighted to do. You're going to have to pay me.
Well, how are you going to compel me to pay you?
Well, I'm just going to sit with my rather large posterior in this studio until you haul me out of it. How about that?
To be honest, Ali, I don't see this happening. I do not see this happening.
Well, then why do these people come up with this nonsense then, Simon? Why do they come up with this guff?
Because, to be frank, the real people who are responsible for this, if someone offered me $500,000, a $500,000 beachfront property in California and said I wouldn't have to work for the rest of my life and I would have a very comfortable life, I'd be on the plane, I'd be on my canoe tomorrow. The people who are responsible, genuinely responsible for this, are the people that have operated an open borders policy, which has made zero economic sense, has caused mass disruption, and turned probably the least racist country into what is fast becoming one of the most racist countries.
You and I both agree on that. We've talked about these issues before, and I agree with you. But we need to be absolutely precise. You know, I have no truck with people wearing face masks in East London chanting Allahu Akbar in the most ridiculously incendiary way on the back of UKIP's or equally incendiary nonsense, right, that they're coming out with, right? This is not going to get us anywhere. We need to be calm. If people want to talk about repatriation and the fact that they want to be culturally cohesive, if they'd follow the kind of warnings I've been giving for the last 20 or 30 years, we wouldn't be in this culturally divided situation we're in. But there we are. I wasn't Prime Minister, but there we go.
Exactly, Ali. That's the issue is that people were told they could come here and live as they liked and believe as they liked, and that was wrong. Just as it would be wrong for me to go to Saudi Arabia, go out and get 3 sheets to the wind on a Friday night or a Saturday, and be upset that I'm arrested.
Yeah, but you see, this is the thing. But Simon, partly it's our own fault, right, of not being clear enough and precise enough. And to give Philp his credit, at least he's coming out with some ideas precisely on what would qualify for you to actually qualify as integrated in this country. The reason why we haven't had these conversations is because no one can really grapple with the issue about what does it mean to be a good integrated British citizen? What does that look like?
That's not true. The reason we haven't had these conversations, if you tried to have these conversations, I'm sure it's happened to you on many occasions, you're accused of being racist.
That's also true.
And that's the problem.
True. That is true.
So they've literally created this situation. So to be honest, Ali, you know who is at the top of my list for deportations? It's not Muslim fanatics. It's not those on the terrorist watch list. It's those politicians that have done this. I think if they enjoy diversity so much, I would happily let them spend in exile 5 years somewhere really nice like Haiti or Venezuela or Afghanistan or even Pakistan, because I think they should practice what they preach.
Well, I mean, I tell you...
So that's the top of my list.
Well, the northern part of Pakistan, if they want to go and hang around Murray or Natia Gully and look at the beautiful scenery there, or go to the Gilgit Chitral polo match, I'm sure they'll have a wonderful time. Simon, very good to speak to you. Hamera, a first-time caller in Reading. Hamera, welcome.
Hi there. Hi.
What would you like to say, Hamera?
Well, basically, I mean, I'm very multicultural myself. My grandmother was British English. My grandfather was Mauritian. Mm-hmm. He was an RAF pilot in World War II, and my grandmother was a nurse. Mm-hmm. And they got married, and they had 2 children, my dad and Uncle Nigel. And my dad converted to Islam, mm-hmm. and we were all raised in England as Muslims. But we also had, Christmas dinners with my grandmother, and we were integrated in that way, that we had Sunday lunches and, this traditional English food with my grandmother and the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. But I think I don't know what planet everybody thinks we're living on. I don't know who claims to be of a pure blood of any kind. The anthropologist Alice Roberts did a whole documentary on the human journey, and we all derive from Africa. So I don't know why we're even having this conversation. Multiculturalism is the planet. We are a multicultural planet. There is integration programs in Europe. I lived in Holland, and when my children were at school, I was involved in an integration program where I had to learn Dutch. I went to the children's during the break times. The mothers who didn't speak Dutch would have to come to the school and help. Attend this program where we would have to help the children do homework mm-hmm. in Dutch. Yep. So we were prepped. We were prepped in the break times. It was a coffee morning at the school, and we learnt basic Dutch and were integrated. Why is it such a big deal? Why can't those sort of programs exist? Integration exists in Europe. I lived in Rotterdam for 7 years.
I'm not sure
I had to attend.
I'm not, but indeed, Hamera, and I think you make a good point. I'm not sure Europe in all cases is managing this any better than we are, but everyone has slightly different models. The French have their concept of laïcité, which is absolutely fundamental, which is this whole concept, secular basis of the state. We come from a slightly different tradition, and we also have our own colonial past, which we're still grappling with. Hamera, what is your advice now if multiculturalism hasn't failed? Do you think that it is under stress, as I do, or do you think it's a figment of my and other people's imagination that it is?
No, I think it's certainly becoming an issue, but why? Like I say, the planet is multicultural. We've been living on this planet for 6 million...
Yeah, but there are points of tension. There are points of tension. Look, if you've got a situation, and I just point out a couple of examples, and this is... just to be very, very direct about it. If you've got a series of terrorist attacks that have been perpetuated in this country by people who claim to be followers of the Muslim faith, Islam, that's not helpful. Let's just put it that way. It's also not helpful if certain followers of the Muslim faith go and threaten a teacher in Batley about showing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. Now, you can go and ask about why he's showing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad and whether that is just to incite. But in a free society as we are, he has a right to do that, and other people have a right to keep their mouths shut and just mutter about it in the confines of their own home and say how horrible it is, not to go and threaten people and endanger their lives. So these are the kinds of problems that are there, and to just simply, for us to dismiss them as nothing to see here, it's all multicultural, we are the world, let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya, doesn't help us.
That's a fair point, but where's the responsibility on the community, on the community and the parents? We can't be raising ignorance on either side. I agree with you. I believe there's. Yeah. I think there's the communities need to educate on both sides, and including Muslims. There should be. How can there be that level of ignorance? Islam's not That's not Islam. That's not a true reflection of Islam.
But you see, Hamera, this is the problem. And I speak to Muslim compatriots of mine all the time who say, this is not a true version of Islam when people go and blow up the tube. This is not a true version of Islam when people threaten a teacher who wants to share a cartoon. Unfortunately, there are people who do it. And there are lots of people out there in the country who do want a blasphemy law and do want cartoons of the Prophet banned. I mean, I find them offensive myself, but I live in a Western country, and that's a choice that I've made to stay here. If I didn't like it, I would actually emigrate to a country where that wouldn't be allowed. But I live in Britain, and whether I find it deeply offensive or not, which I do, by the way, I have to keep my mouth shut and accept that other people have a right to express themselves, even if I find it abhorrent.